All right, what's going on, guys? Today's video, I'm gonna give my honest thoughts on the Sony State of Play that happened today. I watched it, with a bit of commentary, and honestly, I think it was a really fucking solid lineup this time around. I wasn't expecting much, to be honest, but judging by the tabs on the top of the screen, you can tell that there's a lot that I'm really interested in. And the first one, 100%. Obviously, you can see the release date for it is March of next year. On the 24th is going to be Resident Evil 4. So, Resident Evil 4 to me, I didn't really grow up with it, but I did play it a few years ago. Loved this game. I think graphically, it was okay. When I played it for the time, I'm sure it was beautiful, but I really love the aesthetic of them giving like a new coat of paint with like the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 series. I'm just really fucking excited because I consider myself like an okay Resident Evil fan. I'm sure there's people who've like played it like 10, 20 years ago. I'm a very, I would guess I picked up like 2015-ish. And, this looks very promising in my opinion. Like the Resident Evil 4 game, in my opinion, is usually looked at as one of the better ones, if not the best in a lot of people's eyes. And, yeah, it looks graphically stunning. I hope there's going to be a lot of gameplay improvements. The graphics on, the gameplay in 4 was comparable. It was okay, but what they did with, I guess, 2, the remake, it just made it so much more playable and so much more accessible to a whole new audience, which I love to see. I love people picking up old, like, new games with a new coat of paint and experiencing that same sort of feeling people did a while ago. This game's going to be great, and I cannot fucking wait for it. Yeah, other than that, I mean, the game looks beautiful. It's gonna be good. I heard there is a VR adaptation in the works. No release date on when PSVR 2 is coming out, but I tried the first PSVR. That was a taste, but we'll get into that later. It was a taste of VR, but hopefully PSVR 2 will kind of, widen people's perspective on VR as a whole. The next game is actually, there was a lot of PSVR lineups this time around, and I'm a very heavy VR enthusiast. I love seeing VR. And Resident Evil Village, I played that, I believe 2020 is when it released. 2021, yeah, 2021 is when that game released, and that was a really fun one. Obviously more people are gonna like this one in VR for all the wrong reasons you're probably gonna guess, but no, it was just a very solid Resident Evil game, more action focused than horror than what I would like, but it was still very good. For a VR game, especially a console VR game, this looks graphically amazing. I played Resident Evil 7 in VR. It was okay, but it did kind of give me minor migraines. I played on the Pro version, not the regular one, and it still was not really the best looking, but it was still a decent experience. This promises to be a lot better graphically. More people are more accepting and open to VR, and it's piquing more and more people's interest. I just hope that we get more of like a AAA experience like we saw with Boneworks or Half-Life Alyx. But I'm excited for this. If this definitely comes to PC on like the Index or like a Quest, I would definitely be more willing because I do not have a PS5, or I feel like a majority of people kind of can't get their hands on it. But no, I 100%. If I ever get my hands on a PSVR 2 and a PSVR or PS5 in the future, I would 100% be willing to play. The next game was The Walking Dead Saints and Sinner. I know that Overkill had The Walking Dead. I don't think that was the VR game, but there was that other one, the Walking Dead VR exclusive game. I heard that was very good. Had some controversy, but I heard it was good. This looks to be a little bit... Sorry, I'm just going to put the volume on. This looks to be a very fun survival stealth experience, which I love that stuff. I love collecting and gathering. I have no problems doing that. I know there's a lot of I guess walking simulator controversy with games like DayZ and a lot of sort of just, I don't want to say looter shooters, but zombie survival horror games. But this looks like a very fun hack and slash survival zombie game experience, which I'm always up for more VR games. It's 100% welcome here. But yeah, no, the game looks very good in my opinion. Graphically, not as good as Resident Evil 8 like we just saw. But yeah, let's head on to the next game. But again, I guess Sony is really very heavily pushing on this VR aesthetic. Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West were like very, very good games for the time. I didn't. The second one, like the first one, was okay for me. I know a lot of people loved it. It was all right. I didn't want to say it was the best game ever. The story had some dips, but it was still interesting. The second one looked very good. I'm so happy that they released the first one on PC to kind of just let more people experience the game. But this, as a VR experience, I would not expect Horizon Forbidden West to work as well as it does, but this looks good. Like the way that your character interacts with the world space, it doesn't look like how with Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil 7, it's very tacked on VR experience as an afterthought. I don't want to say that because they were still very good experiences, but this looks very good in my opinion. This looks like it's built from the ground up, like a Half-Life Alyx or a Boneworks sort of deal, where like the combat is kept in mind and the experience and like just visually looking around and seeing like a vast landscape in VR versus in like on a monitor. It's a completely different experience, and I'm just so happy to see Sony going this direction with pushing VR as a medium, because more and more people are going to see, like, because console is a very mainstream audience obviously, and more people are going to want to see it. Kids are going to grow up with saying, I want more VR, I want more VR. PC VR, as much as I love my Index, have had so many amazing experiences in VR, and I think it's a very good like creative medium to play games on. It's just a niche audience right now. It's just PCs are already hard for certain people, and on top of that, getting a top of the line flagship VR for a lot of people is daunting. So hopefully the plug and play console will let people, just experience VR, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, I mean, the next game is like Spider-Man Remastered. I don't know if there's no talk about the more Miles Morales game that came out, the second Spider-Man game that came out for PS5. That one looks really good. I played this one. Phenomenal game. I loved it on PS4. DLCs were solid. Good. It's the Spider-Man story. There's not going to be any innovations, but gameplay wise, so fluent. Combat was just very satisfying. So many awesome unlocks. I saw so many of my friends and so many personal people, and just the most platinum trophies, which is crazy. A platinum trophy. People do not platinum trophies that often because people don't finish their games that much. People love this game. It's great to see this on PC. I can't wait to see what kind of ridiculous mods people put on it. And yeah, brings me to my next game, Stray. We saw this game, I think 2021. Don't believe 2020, where it was a cat just walking down an alleyway, in which I think is cute how the cat is scared, or the robots are scared of the cat. That's really funny. But I mean, it's a cat sort of platforming stealth game. I mean, I'm interested to see what the story is behind. It's very how do I say? No, I'll just say mysterious. Sort of. I would not expect this weird gunk on the walls, and obviously it's just a cat. People are gonna love this game. I know my girlfriend personally is interested in this game. People are gonna like you playing as a cute cat wandering around. You can knock shit over like bottles right here, as a cat would. Visually looks great with the power of the PS5. I mean, so far the game looks promising. It's a very creative take, which I think is refreshing in this sort of medium. This game is like, gaming has gone so far to take so many risks with gaming, and I love games that take risks because that's when you get like more creative ideas like this, a fucking stealth game about a cat. And yeah, I guess that's all we have for now. I think the release date for it, if I'm not mistaken, let me see if it's in the content, July 19th. So very, very soon. I don't think that's a 2021 or 2022 release, not 2023. Can't wait. I definitely am gonna I cannot wait to get my hands on this, and definitely gonna be playing it. But well, let's see what I didn't. Okay, good. This next one, this is an interesting one. This definitely, for those of you who do not know, is a passion project of the original Dead Space creator. And Dead Space, the first one, took a lot of risks and a lot of innovations. This, I'm hoping to see a lot of that. Dead Space kind of strayed away from the horror aspect and kind of went with the more action aspect, because is taken with Resident Evil, is taken with a lot of games that are starting to stick with the horror game genre. They kind of stray to the action game because action sells more. It's just the sad reality of it. This will try its best, I hope, to stay to the more horror game genre. This looks phenomenal, like fucking sweat particles right there. This game looks beautiful, bro. I cannot wait for this shit. It looks graphic, it looks gory, it looks intense, it looks something that would make your girlfriend cry, or No, I'm a sucker for horror, even though I hate horror, which is very ironic. I love playing horror games and having people watch me or watching people play horror and just having that shared experience of just getting your shit kicked in and getting scared the hell out of. Um, I cannot wait for this fucking game. Like, if you can see the gameplay right now, I hope there's a whole wide variety of weapons, all kinds of. The story is gonna probably be like okay. It might be some psychological sort of mystery type thing, but other than that, it just looks gory, scary, and graphic, and I cannot wait for that sort of grungy style game, which we haven't had in a while, which is a nice thing that I'm welcoming to. So this next game, I'm gonna be honest. I feel indifferent about cell shaded games. Like Borderlands is a very key example of that. And Borderlands, back in the day, was really good. I don't think there's a place for Borderlands now, but that's a whole other discussion. This it gives me kind of like an Adventure Time sort of art style, which is weird to say, but it looks creative. It looks very different, which I'm seeing a theme here with this Sony State of Play is we're seeing VR games, we're seeing a lot of AAA games, but we're seeing like just games that are taking chances, which I love to see. This looks like a game that is willing to take a chance. It looks different. The combat looks like flashy and the movement looks fast. It looks very fluid. The gameplay looks very like she's doing spins on every sort of move. It looks like Tony Hawk Pro Skater and I don't know, fucking like Rocket League. Rocket League's probably not a good example. Metal Gear Solid. There you go. Just it looks like this one will definitely be fun in the multiplayer space, which I'm hoping for. It might come back later, but right now it just looks like this will be like a very good, just a solid creative indie game story just to kind of see what else is out. I'll definitely get my hands on this and definitely play it if there's nothing out at the time. So yeah, look out for Roller Drome. I don't know when that. Yeah, August 16th. I'm so dumb. It's just fucking showed on the screen. But yeah, this next one, I don't mind anime. I love anime. I've watched it for years. Anime games, on the other hand, it's usually a hit or miss for me personally. I really either have to like the anime, someone has to get me to play it. But this one looks a little bit interesting. Like I would not mind sitting down and getting my hands on this. There's a little bit of goofy stuff. Like there was I don't know if I can find it, but there was a part where you have to hold hands with one of the characters, the main character. So it looks like a hybrid of like a dating sim and like sort of flashy combat, like I guess Final Fantasy or maybe Kingdom Hearts. But there's a tentacle right there. Hold hands. This game looks fun. Very colorful. I'm sure there's gonna be a whole awesome cast of characters. Believe it, baby. Yeah, I can't wait for this. Not as much as the other games, but this one I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of like people who are gonna be excited for this. It looks, lighting looks good, characters look okay. They don't look too like the character design looks nice, but yeah, looks okay. Moving on is something that a lot of people I'm sure have been waiting a very long time. So personal people that I know are like my cousin, for example, and a few friends of mine, some people who are very big Street Fighter fans have been waiting for this game for quite a bit. And the last Street Fighter, I don't want to call it a flop, but there were some netcode issues that really, really kind of ruined the game. As far from what I heard, this looks promising because I've never seen a Street Fighter game or a lot of fighting games to be open world like this. I don't know if they're going to be taking like a Streets of Rage approach or what, but I mean, there's going to be character customization from the looks of it. There's going to be lots of just cool interaction with the open world space. The gameplay looks colorful. It looks creative. It looks like a new take that Street Fighter hasn't taken before, which I'm always welcome to. And I mean, the biggest concern for me was also like sometimes, people who aren't really, the one and done game, like say a family who loves Street Fighter is playing, like growing up on the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3. It's like, oh, we're gonna get the new Street Fighter and play together. They put it up and they're like, there's a tutorial, you have to run here, run there. The game has to, it's very, how am I saying? It's not accessible and it's a little bit more unorthodox. Thankfully, there isn't any of that. It's not just a strict open world, as long as from what I've seen. And it's just, I'm gonna skip to it really fast. Here, there's kind of like a hub world where you can just kind of verse one-on-one, don't have to interact with all that. So I'm kind of curious to see if it's just going to be an open menu to go right to the open world, or you'll load right into the open world, or it's just going to be a little bit. I hope it's not going to be confusing for people to just kind of, I guess, the casual audience who loves Street Fighter and grew up with it and are just not going to be confused running around a home world versus wondering how the fuck they're going to play with their friends in the living room. Other than that, gameplay looks great, flashy. I mean, like, fucking look at that. Like, power of the PS5, baby. Gameplay looks beautiful. Some iconic characters on screen. I don't mind giving Street Fighter 5. Big fighting fan here. So next game, I've personally never touched this game. It's got some, I've heard some sort of original Zelda themes to it. If you guys are into that, or anyone out there is into that, definitely for you. It looks like a really like fun, just like creative game. Very colorful, lots of little like adventurous stuff like that. Just a cute game. I wouldn't mind. I definitely wouldn't mind playing this. I know that it was already on PC, I believe, but it's coming out for PS5 and PS4 September 27th. So definitely look out for that, all y'all PlayStation fans out there. The next one, I think, yes, Session. So this one looks like more of a like mainly just narrative. Look at me, I'm pretty, kind of like your journey, or sort of like a, I guess everyone's gone to Rapture, just like a very slowed down, engage in the story, just a very visually stunning game, and just something that's doing creative work. I mean, games as movies, you love them or hate them. I think this is going to be like something that a certain audience will love. People who love like to just kind of relax and chill with their games and just enjoy the story and take in the sights. Definitely going to be a fun game for people out there who are into this kind of thing. Not particularly for me. Maybe like if I'm just sitting down with like a girlfriend or wife or someone who just, or a significant other, that you just want to chill and both play a cute game together. Definitely looks nice. But yeah, other than that, like the other games, looks okay. At this next game, I am very, 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 very excited for Final Fantasy 16. I cannot fucking wait for this game. So far from what I've seen, from what they've showed, is just they've taken a more approach to, sorry, I can't focus and listen to music at the same time. They've taken a heavier approach on the sort of fantasy aspect instead of like the more modern day, which looks amazing. They're taking it to the more medieval time, the sort of summons or god aspect of the combat. It was more of like a flashy thing in Final Fantasy 15, but this seems like it's a more sort of interactive element, like you might play as them. But like, just look at that, man. The combat looks so fluent and flashy and fun. Like I think that there was a lot of controversy with Final Fantasy 15. Some people say it's ahead of its time. Some people say it flopped. I think it was a great game. The music, the graphics, that's what you're going to get usually out of a Final Fantasy experience. I cannot fucking wait for this game. And I'm so excited to see what the story has to offer. Like, just, I mean, yeah, some interesting subjective matter there. But no, like, it looks fun. It looks dope. I cannot fucking wait to get my hands on this one for sure. The only things that I'm worried about, honestly, I feel like, optimization has always not been the strong suit, especially with Final Fantasy 15 coming to memory. Not really a big Final Fantasy 14 fan. I'm not gonna pay $19.99 for that bullshit. Even though the story has really been good for that game, there's a lot of awesome stuff and content. You can have hours of fun. Not my thing. Final Fantasy 16 looks so promising. Graphics looks great. Music looks beautiful. The theme and art style looks so phenomenal. I hope the story is as good as what I'm being presented on screen. I know it will be. But, I mean, fun fact, for all those who didn't know why Final Fantasy was called Final Fantasy, first game, didn't think it was even going to be that good. So they thought it was going to be the last game. Funny how history would be like that. So, yeah, I cannot wait for this. Hopefully, Final Fantasy 16 will not have problems at launch. I really hope that it's all optimized and polished and pretty. I want to like this game as much as possible. Definitely I wouldn't say pre-order because I'm against it, but definitely an early buy for sure. But other than that, guys, yeah, thank you for kind of just taking my opinion about the Sony State of Play. I watched it, observed it. Those are my thoughts on it. I think it was a good. Definitely was not expecting this many bangers. I think that it really like showed that the games medium has taken a lot more chances, at least in my opinion. Um, and like I can't wait to see more VR. I really cannot wait to see what they do with PSVR 2 and its just accessibility to the mainstream market. On that, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for enjoying me. Peace.